Hello, welcome to the live stream in which we will place down tracks which shall constitute the layout of tracks of the terminus. I'm sure I'll come up with a better name eventually. Also, as we're getting started, I'm going to give you a nice little, what's the word I'm looking for? Not warning. I'm going to give you a nice advance warning. There we go. I have already recorded an announcement video in which I'm explaining and disclosing what the next route that I will be working on will be, along with what the train is that I'm making for it. And I've edited most of it. However, it's not quite finished, but it'll probably be uploaded either tomorrow or the day after or something like that. So that's the warning. Now you have been warned. So let's see. Is anyone in chat? Yes. Hello, Kangafango and Marky. Oh, Albastro916 as well. Hello. Oh, hello. Right, so here we are. Last time on this game, we put down a whole bunch of houses on this side of the tracks. Whole bunch of houses. And we put down grass, and we put down a lot of things. Not the law, but we did put down the lawn. So let's get started. Let's put down baseboards. Here we go. And of course, yes, I forgot about that. So, space. What are we going to need? I'm just going to put a few baseboards down, and then we can... Yeah, this should be more than enough. And then we can draw in where the lines should go. So, how is everybody watching? How are you? How are your projects? How are the things related to your projects? And so on. Right, so let's quickly update that with the grid, just so that I can actually, probably work with it. Ooh, no, not anywhere on the route. Just in current section. Also, they call it a section here, in current section only. But over here, they call it, actually, they just call it add update ground. Ground resolution. Where did, yeah, it used to be called baseboard. Did they change some of these names somewhere? Anyway. Phew, sorry, only just made it. Tiny technical difficulties on my side. Fixed now. Good. Sharday's Marky, Albastro, how are y'all doing? Tired, you? How is everybody watching? On a computer! Ha ha ha. Good one. I'm fine, thanks. How are you? I'm quite alright, thanks. I hope you'll be able to get some restful times again soon. Again, yes. So, did I put on the filter? I don't think so. No. Let's draw this out with Hog09. Why not? I usually just use the blue texture, but Hog09 should work as well. But before I do, I am just quickly going to upgrade this all to 5-meter baseboards, because that is going to be useful. Also, if you didn't know, in this game, if you zoom out to the map view, you can see that this baseboard, the grid, has a slightly different color than that baseboard. That's to let you know which ones are 5 meter and which ones are 10 meter. So if I click on this one, you can see now it changed color. Actually, did it? Or did they patch that? That's odd. It used to be a different color, but it doesn't. It looks like it's the same color now. Ah, that would not be fun if they patched that. That was really useful. Maybe it's just maybe it would be fixed if I reload the game. I don't know. Trying to show you a Trainz feature, which then, yeah, it used to be a slightly different color, slightly more bluish if it were 5 meters, so you could tell by looking at the map view which was 5 meter, which wasn't, which was really useful for updating large areas, but that looks like it might have been removed, unfortunately. Right, so, building stuff. Originally, the idea was to have a Y leading into the terminus. So if a train comes in, it could reverse out and automatically go around and then exit back out the way that it came, facing forwards. However, I've done some research and I couldn't find a single example where it was built specifically for that reason. Yes, there were some examples like in Florida where there is already a crossing, like a line crossing like this, where basically a line comes in as a Y, and then the trains use that to turn around. But I couldn't find a single instance where land was purchased just for turning around. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically rely on a switcher. So if a train comes in, I'm talking about locomotive hauled trains. So not anything that has a cab car or anything like that, or power cars. So a locomotive hauled train comes in to a station with coaches. So that's one scenario. It comes in, and then where do we go from there? Yes, it could reverse, but that seems not very prototypical. At least I don't think so. So having a little switcher over by a siding that comes in, takes the coaches away into the siding, allowing the engine to go backwards onto a turntable turn around, seems quite useful. Also, if it's the beginning of a new day, then the engine would come in onto a siding while a switcher pulls in a rake of cars, or pushes, yeah, probably pulls in. Then the engine would come into the other side, and then it would probably be timed such that the switcher wouldn't have to wait too long before being freed from the track, because obviously it's a stub track. It's not got a runaround track. So that is more realistic, according to what I've found in my research. Also, it means we need to use less space. Although, I may put in another turntable over here, so that you don't have to go all the way to the yard just to turn around, because that does seem a little ridiculous. Why? I think I just explained why. The why. Right, so let's plan this out. We're going to need crossovers. How long were the crossovers? Actually, over here. Because didn't I have... Yeah, I've got crossovers over here. Oh, come on, there we go. So how long is this? About 600 odd feet. So if I go for maybe 610, 620 feet, that should be fine. I'll go from here. So let's see, 600 and... oh, that's 700 and something. Yeah, let's just go for 620 feet-ish. So like that, although that's not aligned correctly, hold on. Should be more like that. Is that better? Need to turn it a little bit more. Okay, so this is the space needed for the crossovers. So let's quickly paint that in. Oops. Let's quickly paint this in. Although, are we going to have the crossovers be sequential or parallel? And by that I mean sequential crossovers would be, like if we had 3 tracks, then sequential crossovers would go from this track over to there, and from this track over to there, and then from this track back over like this, and then back over like that. Like that. So they're in sequence. Which means if you want to go from this track to that track, you can do, and from the other side as well. If they're parallel, it would mean that they would be laid out like this. So that they basically converge in the middle and then spread out. I think the latter, because that will mean I don't need any extra space for this. which means that this should work. So it'll cross over once with the other one, then cross over again, which means we'll have a diamond, and then it'll cross over outside again. Then I'll want... I will want a... I will want sidings, not just for the switcher, but also for to have enough space for a rake to be pulled out if a train's just arrived. Rake, by the way, is a set of coaches that have been coupled together. So I need space for that, and that needs to be as long as the platforms, which I haven't figured out yet. And I'll need that to be... Maybe I don't want them to be sequential. Because the thing is, you'll have to be able to get from the siding to all of the tracks and then back to the siding. In which case, actually, parallel. So maybe sequential would be better. So if you imagine the main line going like that, and then you have the siding like this, and then over here somewhere you'd have the branching platform tracks and so on, like that. Although the distances aren't set in stone, there's just for showcasing purposes. So if we've got the crossovers parallel, then yes, as you're coming in, you can already go to the left or go to the right, however you need. However, if you imagine a train comes into a platform with a locomotive hauled train, the locomotive's at this end, the coaches are behind at the rake. And so a switcher needs to come from a siding, go out onto here, and then it has to be able to get onto all of these tracks to get the coaches and pull them back out into the siding, so that the locomotive is then free to reverse onto the turntable and turn around and whatever it needs to do. So we're going to need to have crossovers going from right to left. So yeah, I guess there isn't really any better way of describing that. So from where we are going forwards, going from right to left, so going from here in that direction. And that will allow all access to the siding. But if we've got crossovers going in that direction anyway, we don't really need them over here going from right to left. We just need them going from left to right because, well, let's see. Actually, maybe it would be good to have two sets of parallel crossovers, because then if a train is, for example, if a train's over on this platform and it's ready to depart, it comes out like this, and then we need to get it onto the right two tracks as fast as possible to get out of the way, basically. So then if it could cross over here and already be on the right tracks going this way, that would be really useful. However, we do also need, so we need crossovers going that way, but we also need them going the other way to access the siding. So maybe having two sets of parallel crossovers would be good, even though that would mean we'd have to have two diamonds, which of course the railroad would want to keep the number of diamonds to a minimum because they need to be specially made for the specific location, and they require a lot of maintenance because of course the point where the wheels impact at the on the diamond gets worn away quite quickly. So yeah, I'll read chat. Crossovers, sequential or parallel? The real question is, will they be parallel or weak field? Or will they be shunt? I'm confused? Yes, you are. Old third rail electric multiple units from the UK, including Southern Railways stocks power settings on the throttle were called off, shunt, series, parallel, and weak field. Apologies for any confusion caused. Right, now let's see about the length. So this will determine how long our trains will be on this route. Now, let's quickly measure this, because I am probably just going to pick the longest platform we've got on the map, because having the terminus be shorter than that doesn't really make sense. So this is 720 odd feet. Let's have a look at new Towerport, because that is another fairly sizable station up here, which I think is shorter. So that was 720-ish feet. And over here, oh, actually no, this might be longer. This is... Ah, no, this is shorter. So this is about 650 feet. If that's 650 feet, come on. Put the spider to shame. And then over here, that was 720. Let's just quickly double check. Yeah, 720. So I'm going to do 720 odd feet again, which means I might be able to just reuse these invisible stations, although I don't like how the passengers are all collected on one spot in that. Okay, so 700 and... ooh, don't get greedy. Oh, is that Emichu with the diamonds, or... I think that's the clip. Come on. Yeah. Diamonds, diamonds. Aww, that was so much fun when Kanga, when you and I were still able to play together on multiplayer. If only there was a way that we could still do that now with the current setup. If only. Right, so let's see. So we've got 720 plus the length of the switcher. So maybe how long would we say is a switcher? I'm gonna get the length of one of the camelbacks, because those would be regular switching engines over here. So I need to find where I placed one. I think over here somewhere by the coal stuff, right? Didn't I have one over here? Come on. I did have one, but I apparently moved it somewhere else. Where did I put it? I don't remember where I put it. I know I put it somewhere, probably over here somewhere. Ooh, actually, did I put it over by the pulp mill? That might have been it. No, that was not it. I guess I'm just gonna place it down manually. RC engine, haha. Not remote control, but roller coaster. Okay, so Camelback. Yeah, let's just... Actually, tell you what, I'm gonna put it down over where we need it so that I can use it if I need it. Holzpulpmühle. Of course, what else? Okay, so I needed to be on the relatively straight section, like this. And then, how long is that? About 50 feet. So 720, so let's do about 780, 800 feet. 800 feet seemed well, given that we've got the... Yeah, I think 760 should be fine. So we've got all 4 tracks coming in like that, and then we just need enough space for it to come out, which that seems good. It's done 760 feet. Would make it come up to about there. for the siding, because this needs to come over like that a bit. And then we need a little bit of space for it to come over. And then that was 620 odd feet for the crossovers, because we need them again as well. So wait, was it 620 odd? Was it, or did I mess that up? Hold on. Because I had to move it around for the angle, but I thought it was, no, it was, okay, it was 610, so 620 odd. Right. That's 620 odd feet, like that, which means that this is the point where the second crossovers will have already finished. So this is the point where we can begin splitting off for the different tracks for the platform. Also, where we are going to have the turntable is probably just off of here. So we'll probably just have a little spur coming off like that with the turntable at the end there, which is likely also where we'll have coaling and watering facilities as well. Now, I know that in real life there were tracks for like express mail coaches and, well, express coaches, mail coaches, stuff like that, but I don't really think we need an extra track. I think we can just use a normal regular platform for that, because they were also used for that partially. So let's just build it up to, let's just put the tracks down up to where we've put the rulers down, so we can see if this actually lines up how I've planned it. Better measure UP big boy. For what do you mean? Fun fact, the Union Pacific 4884 locomotive class originally built tackling the Wasatch grade, as the 4664 Challengers were having trouble with it, were supposed to get the nickname Wasatch. But when an unidentified individual in a maintenance shed had chalked Big Boy on one engine smoke box, the name stuck. Yeah, it must have been one of those kind of resin-laced chalk sticks that became sticky. Probably. So this is already a straightened piece, which means I can just extend this out to about here. That seems actually really good. So, because these ones are already straightened, so I can just use these for the crossovers. I hope I won't have to move that locomotive, although I probably will. Will it work? Oh, it'll work! Great! Did not expect that. Okay, so extend that to about... it will also, with the new route, it'll also be so much nicer to actually be working with a track that has proper render distance, except so it doesn't just de-render right there or unload right there. Even though from down here it's fine, you can't really see it, but if you zoom out while you're building it, it's a bit annoying. So how long was each section over here? I think I already measured it, yes. About 200 feet, okay. So, let's put in spline points here. And then 200 feet later, we need another... Oh, right, I can't... Hold on. I'll just quickly disable the limit contextual information. Just so I can actually see... Actually, why are these rotating? Did I not? All right, this, yeah. I remember I had it on when I built the roads, and then I forgot to turn it back off. Okay, so from there, 200 feet on, to there, and then put some more spline points in here. Let's line these up as close as I can just by eyeballing it. Then we'll need to go 200 feet from this point. Are there? Oh, yes, there are. See, that's a little strange. You've got keyboard shortcuts for the rulers to move and to add and move rulers, but you don't have one for which one was it? Apply gradient. Actually, no, get gradient. No, not that one. Which one was it? Yeah, apply vertex height and get vertex height. You don't have keyboard shortcuts for these ones, even though those are really, really useful. But then you have one for show curve radius, which I literally have only used like maybe 3 or 4 times ever. And then apply and get vertex height, which I've used thousands of times, and it doesn't have one. Right, build for tackling, yes. Stream title, yes, there's a stream title. Albastro 916 asks Kangafango, would you rather be a Portuguese lima bean or a Belarusian watermelon? Okay. So this should be the final section, because after this one, yeah, after this one it's the, although I will have to extend this. Yeah, because I'll need to have a straight section after this point. So, although this is significantly longer than 200, so actually that'll work out great. See, that's what you get when you overestimate your lengths a little. Okay, so now let's put in the junctions. So you need one to go from here like that, then one inwards like this. Also, which ones here have been straightened? Yes, like that. That's good. Okay, those are coming in. All right, and then I'll need a couple more spline points just there, which actually means that the switches themselves will be the switch tracks will be a little bit shorter, but that's okay. And then we'll need 2 more over here. Is that straightened? I think so, yeah. Okay, like that. Now how about these over here? Are these straightened? I somehow doubt it. Although that one was. Let's just quickly test. Okay, those are all good. How about these ones? Yep. These ones? Yep, good. I know I will need to redo the switches at some point as well. Right, so now you can see we've got the crossovers, which should work fine. Hopefully. Let's just quickly double check the length of the ones in the middle. So this begins... Come on. Begins there. And then that's 185 feet. That should be fine. Right, you can get a locomotive across that. Let's just have a quick look. Oops. Let's try one of these mountain classes. Because these ones are the ones by which I'm measuring this usually. Although I will have to switch the junctions. Or junction. Right, so if I put this on the steepest bit of this curve, how do these wheels look? Do they look like they're on the tracks? Yes, that looks fine. You probably would get a little bit of flange squeal. However, yeah, that's fine. Okay, good. Oh, Mr. Snipes, hello. Right, I don't like the sound of either. I'm going to say watermelon in this case. Evil saucepan? Evil saucepan. But hello? Hello! Yes, it's been a while. How are you? I'm good. Just working on a royalty-free game music project. Ah, lovely. Okay. Let me just quickly switch these so that I won't get confused by them later. I'm really sorry both, but I've got a really bad headache today and I just cannot concentrate, so I think I need to call it a night. I'm really sorry for not being around this evening. I was hoping to be more active, but the normal this weekend, really sorry. That's alright. That's alright. I wish you a restful night and yeah, good night, basically. Is that a royalty-free game music project or a royalty-free game music project? Good question. Right. So now, now we've got the important question of. Thank you. Hope no worries. Hope you feel better soon. Hoping I'm in full couch tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Rest up for tomorrow. Right. It's music people can use for the games. Ah. That is very good. Very useful. Have fun trainsing. Thank you. Wait. Or streams or whatever. So you're putting on a character on Mondays? But right. So. Right. What was it? Yes. Right. Yes. I remember now. Do I want this to be straight into the terminus, or do I want there to be a curve? Because this has been pretty much a straight shot. Bolts out the door. All the best from the UK. Okay, but actually, see you all soon. Bye-bye. Good night. Right, so coming over here, we've got these curves this way with the junction. Then we've got a straight shot coming this way. Do we want this to just be a straight shot into the terminus, which would begin over here, or do we want there to be a curve? We could have a curve going around to the left like this, and then it going into the terminus. Both have pros and cons. Let's see. Hi. Yes. Okay. Code Monkey, hello. Oh, hello. Are you here? What? Like a milk factory? I'm gonna go with no on that one. I'm going to try and see what it would be like with a curve. Doesn't have to be a major curve. Could be a kernel or an admiral curve. It really doesn't matter that much. So if I just do that, what would that look like? Would look okay. Yeah, like that. And then that would be the siding as well, going along that curve. I think that does make it a bit more interesting. Pros and cons and Milk Co. Con and Sons. Slightly distracting last business on the line before terminus, Milk Co. to be exact. No. That would not fit in here. However, actually yes, there will be an announcement video of what the next route will be after the MVR, also what the train is that I'm making for it. I've recorded the announcement video, and I've mostly edited it, but it's not quite finished, so it'll probably be uploaded tomorrow or the day after. So that's exciting, that's something to look forward to. I'll have to double check the length of that spline now again. Ooh, will you tease us? Wasn't the mere announcement of its existence already a tease? Gives a teaser, you know? Okay, well, I'm going to say it will feature red signs, well, white signs with a red rim. Who is this Milton? What about his valley? Well, legend has it that he used his fortune, he gained Miltoning to build a railroad in the valley. Right, so how long did we say this needed to be? About 620 feet, okay. Although it has to be a little bit longer than that because of the other spline point. So if I extend this to about 650 feet, why not? That should work. No whistleboards then, I see. If that is the conclusion you take from that, then, well, that's the conclusion you take from that. He realized that it was Kangafango who came up with his name and existence in general. Later, he built a railroad and voila boo. We're here now. I see. Is that your creation myth for this world? Nah, it's an alternate one, but maybe. Sounds fictional. I mean, a myth generally sounds fictional. Otherwise, you wouldn't call it a myth, you would call it history. Okay, so now, I do like how that looks. So now let's put in the siding for the switcher. So, how long? I think it was every 200, yeah, 200 feet. Okay, so from this point, going straight for about 200 feet. So about there. Which means that over here is where we'll need a tiny little straight section. And then that can connect up like this. That's going to be the switch for the siding, and then we need to put the one on this side as well. I did come up with the MVR's name. Before the first Trainz live, I suggested it, Chair disliked it and took it. But it's about Milton, so technically it is his story. Good point. Same with the Mexford Interurban Network. Haha. Simon, Milton. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so 200 feet along this way. We'll end up about there. Need a tiny little straight section like this. Then we can connect that up over to there. And this as well, although I will need to play with the alignment a little bit so that the distance remains relatively constant along here, like the distance to the other tracks. Actually, over here it looks okay, but this one still needs to be adjusted slightly. That looks good. Okay, so that's the switcher siding, so that it can pull the coaches, the rake of coaches out into that when a train comes into the station, or it can already get the coaches ready. And considering that we'll have another set of crossovers beyond the siding, we can just use this track as a runaround track should we need to. Because another train, even if it's one that's coming into the station, can just use the inner track to come in. So that's good. Everything's always about Simon Milton, isn't it? You can't go 2 train streams without figuratively bumping into him again. Good point. Okay, so the little branch for the turntable and all of that, I'll probably make it come off here. So yeah, like this. That's probably a good angle. Okay, why doesn't that? That's odd. Come on, switch. There we go. Is this the son of Jebediah Milton? Oh yeah, good old Jebediah Kerman, yes. Okay, let's put in the extra crossovers here. I need to put in spline points over here first. And then every 200. So about there. And actually, if I add the other spline points in first and then start measuring, then we'll avoid issues where we run out of space. So that'll be useful. So measuring from here, 200 feet. Save. Nah, that was his uncle. Simon Milton's father was Longden Finstable Milton. Okay, from here, 200 feet more. Ooh, that goes to just about there, which is a little bit less than ideal. So I'll extend this out slightly. And then I'll add in the spline points along here for the crossover tracks. Are these ones straightened? That one is. These ones are all not good. Ah, yes, so many Miltons. Many a Milton makes a muckle, as the locals say. Do they? They do now. Dun dun dun. Now, of course, you could still have the parallel ones, the parallel crossovers, but just have the middle ones extended over. But I really don't want it to get much longer than the approach to get much longer than it already is. So I won't. That one's already straightened. Yes, good. These ones, not so much. These ones also. These ones on the outside are good. Oops. Thought I was rotating them, but I wasn't. I was switching them. Okay, there we go. Now I can delete all these rulers. Okay. Next I'll put in the turntable. I think I'll use the same one as in New Southport. Because that one seems quite sizable. What? Oh, that's odd. Look, I'm on the Get tool, yet if I click, I'm placing things. If I move now to the Add tool and then back to the Get tool. There we go. Bit buggy. Right. However, I should probably place the watering and cooling facilities first because those will need space. Actually, do we need coaling facilities there, or would watering be enough, considering we've got the yard with a cooling tower right there? Anyway, this connects quite nicely. In what situation? Now, I mean, a water tower is quite obvious. After locomotives come in, being able to refill its water tank is very, very crucial. However, coal, in what instance? Coal lasts a long time, so in what instance? So if there's a train beginning a new journey here, the locomotive probably came from the shed, because steam locomotives need a lot of checkups, a lot of maintenance, lubrication work. So the likelihood is if you've just completed a long journey, long enough to deplete your coal, you will likely be checked up anyway at a terminus like this. So you can then reload coal there. However, yeah, if you're just beginning a journey, then you would have had free time. If you've come in, you've ended a journey. The only reason you might need coal here is if you've just ended a journey and you're beginning the next one already, which, granted, you might be, especially if you've got water there. However, I think it's not necessary. Although maybe it could be good for the switcher as well. Yeah, because then the switcher could remain there. Actually, having a little shed for the switcher might also be nice. So that the switcher doesn't have to go back to the yard at the end of the day every time. Although, maybe that is good. Where's the coaling stage? Oh, we've only got the large one here, don't we? Yeah, and the tiny one. Yeah, I think I'll go over to the sugar mill or wherever it was. Well, not mill, the sugar fields. Sugar plantation, that's the word I'm looking for. Where the sugar has been planted. To grab this asset. And then put that down over here. Yeah, because it would make sense to have a coaling tower for the switcher over here. Yeah, because it's not just road engines using this. And then I might be able to just attach the second track to the turntable. Because you can fit a small hopper with the switcher on there, right? Right? I'll recharge a bit. So if we imagine having that on there, I'll grab the same hopper that I put down over here. That one. Also, that's something I still have to do, which is come up with my own custom paint schemes for the repaints of the locomotives for this route. Oh yeah, you might. Yeah, you can even fit 2 of them on the turntable. Oh yeah, that's not going to cause an issue then, which is good. Right, turntable stub. Your presence is required. Although before I put that down, I should probably reposition this so that it. Actually, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and then that can come over. Actually, I need to rotate this slightly so that the curve works a bit better. So that comes over like that, and that connects from there to there. Funnily enough, Longdon Finstable's father was also called Jebediah. He was always publicly ridiculed for his supposed UFO sightings, and his painting art style was often referred to as dreadfully outlandish. He pretended to care, to satisfy the public, but never truly did. In fact, he purposely made his artwork more and more unlike anyone else's paintings as the years went on, just to spite them. But it was all in good fun, on his side anyway. But yeah. And Longdon Finstable's father, Jebediah Milton Sr., was a blacksmith from birth. From birth? Who's present, eh? The stub's presence is required. Okay, now connecting that like this. And then connecting that one over here. And then I'll probably put... Actually, should I have an engine cert here or not? I'm thinking now in terms of session creation. Because having an engine shed here for the switcher would be useful. It would be very useful. However, in terms of sessions, it means that a session probably would end at the shed here, well, begin and end at the shed here. And there's no real reason to do it otherwise. However, if the switcher is based at the yard back there, then you can still have a session begin or end here, where the switcher's just standing on this little siding there or over here. Or you could have a session where you need to come from the yard and come over here and do some work, or you've just finished work and at the end of the day you're going back to the yard. So I think I'm not going to have a shed here for this. Which means I don't need another stub. Connect that up like this. And connect that up like this. Ooh, no, not like that. Yeah, I always forget that that second track is also replaceable. Oh, what's the matter? Why? Please don't say Kasabadu. Okay, let's just get that track. Not a roundhouse. No, not a roundhouse, just a turntable. Ah, although... Actually, that should be fine. To unload that. Ah, righty. Yeah, this is really just for the mainline engines to be able to turn around at. So if they come in to the station, that they can turn around, basically. Okay, so... Is there enough space to unload one of these here? Hold on, I'll quickly add... Oh, come on. Yeah, that's just temporary. So we just have this here. That is long enough to unload. However, we do require a tiny little bit more track just at the end here. Although that's a little bit too long, well, too short for the spline. And it doesn't look good floating like that either. I suppose I could always move the water tower back a bit. That's probably the best solution here. Just like that. That's pretty straight, isn't it? Almost. Like that. Okay, and then I can just have a little straight section like this. And then a bumper at the end. You just need to locate one. Will this bit have any sheds then? No, not really. I might have another siding for, like, if there's a coach that's developed some sort of fault, that it can then be taken out of the station onto a siding right there without having to go all the way to the yard. So if it's just in the way and it needs to be taken to a safe spot, you can just take it out onto the siding there. But other than that, nope, not really. A fine tapestry for future historians to unravel. I thought you were about to make a reference to the Fates weaving the tapestry of life, but apparently not. Okay, so if there is an issue like that and something does have to be pulled out, it's probably only going to be a singular coach. Wait, why are you flashing red? You're not even procedural. Why are you flashing red? Listen, Junction, you're not procedural. You don't need to flash red. Happy? Okay. These junctions, I tell you. Right, so... yeah, it's like, if there is a fault, it's likely only going to be one coach. So having a siding of this length to deal with that is probably more than enough. And then I can have another end of track device. Like that. I think that's reasonable. Let's quickly turn on the limit contextual information again. Much nicer. Okay, good. And this is a little sharp for curve, but it's only for the switcher. That should be able to deal with this, no issue. Okay, so now what we've got. You come in like this. You've got crossovers to get onto the inner track if you need it. And then here you can get onto whichever track you need to go into whichever platform you need. Now the next step is we have to decide how many platforms we actually need. And tell you what, I am actually going to use the invisible platform asset that I used over here, just because it's handy for working with currently. I might replace them later with an asset that has the passengers spread out more. But we'll see. Okay, re-splice them later, yeah. Right, over 9,000. What's that? Is that the... what is it called? The anime that it's a reference to. I forget what it's called, sorry. So how much space we need will be determined by how many platforms we want. So let's see. Actually, this is much easier to place down now since it's aligned with the grid. Okay, so if these are... Come on. That's good enough. So we've got 2 platforms like that. We'll have... I mean, one thing that is quite, well, that was quite popular in the UK, which I haven't found no evidence for in the US, is to have a third track between 2 platforms like that. So a train could come in, and then you'd have a runaround loop within the station. So the engine, you'd come in up to here, you'd decouple your rake, you'd go forwards, and then go onto the third track, or go onto the other platform track, and then run around your train. But I found no evidence of this being the case in the US. Plus, we've already got the switcher, so in the interest of conserving space, it would probably just be put down like that. Also, that does seem a little bit too close. Hold on. I'll quickly turn limit contextual information off again, just so that I can better align these. Now, do we want platforms on the outsides, on both the outsides? Probably. So that's 4 platforms. Let's add at least another 2. Dragon Ball Z apparently. Yeah, I mean... I know vaguely about that, but I've never watched it, so I don't know what it is that I'm actually referencing when I would make that reference. Sometimes you could just make a reference for reference sake, because you know that there is a reference that this would be applicable for, but Oh well. Same, I used to know, but not anymore. Oh, it's a nice song. I like it when you get musical. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 platforms is a good number. However, given that we've got 4 tracks coming in, I think we might need like 1 or 2 more. Just so that it really feels appropriate. Because if you look at, for example, just have a quick look at New York Union Station. For example. Oh no, not the... hold on. Oops. Track plan. Yeah, look at how many platforms there are here. Even like that, for a, yeah. Yeah, that's 10 platforms there, and then by the looks of things, another 10 over there. So, actually, I've had an idea. What if I have some of the platforms shorter? So, yeah, because this could be like a different extension of the route. Although in that case, it might be best to have it not be shorter where, like in the middle of the platform, where it's part of the same actual physical platform. So if I delete that one and have the shorter one begin here. So musical, yeah. Tell me about it. No, don't actually. Wasn't it Union Station Toronto? Not the one I was looking for, but yeah, the Union Station in Toronto also has lots and lots of platforms. Perhaps even more than New York Union Station. Okay. So one more over on the side. Like that. How does that look platform-wise? Is that big enough? Actually, one factor might be the roof. Because originally, I had intended to just have individual platform canopies and have between them be open. However, maybe we could do something more fancy. So, because we've got the big arch roofs, what are they called? Like these ones. Well, this one isn't an arch. Is it the barrel one? Yeah. Yeah, we've got these ones. Actually, that's not the largest one. We've got even bigger ones. And I know that traditionally this would be more of a British thing, probably. However, I see no reason why a big station in the US shouldn't also have this. I think that this actually would fit much nicer. And then if we are going to use this, then having this properly align with platforms would also be important. Although, does that feel a little bit too European? Let's have a look at some reference again. Why does it only... Well... What's this? Well, the subway station. Of course, the subway station. Yeah. I mean, this is in Denver, but that's modern. That's a modern building. Actually, let's have a look on the website. Come on. Come on. Close that. Aren't there supposed to be images between... Or maybe that's just ads that haven't loaded. I mean, if this is from the 30s, I don't want this. I'm not even going to click on any of it, even no thanks. Because I can still see the thing on the bottom. So, I mean, if this is... Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Why don't you show me the tracks? I want to see the tracks. Maybe I should just look on Google Maps. No, look, if you can see the tracks over here, and looking there, you can see you've got the main building coming over, but then each track, come on, each track has its own separate canopy. You can see there with coaches standing on the tracks there. Yeah, so I don't know that a really, like a singular large roof that covers multiple tracks would be that realistic then. Let's have a look through some of these. Los Angeles Station, yeah, that's just... I want to see the tracks, not just the... Yeah, see Denver, yeah, but that's a new thing. Chicago. The original Penn Station, New York City. I don't know. Right. It does feel European, but don't know if it feels too European. East Lancs European. Yeah. Cincinnati Union does look a bit Art Deco, but must have been around then. Oh yeah, I mean, that sort of design was even back in the 20s. Well, partially, yeah. I don't know. Tell you what, let's put the whoops. Let's put the Hiawatha in there. Actually, what was it called? I know I'm not building a realistic consist here, but that's not the point. I just want to see what it looks like. MR. Oh, Milwaukee Road. That makes sense. Thank you. MR Hudson. Alright, we've got the dirtier one and we've got the cleaner one. So let's put that down. Actually, 1 second. Okay. And also let's put an F7 down. Let's put one of the reskins that Grammar, I think it was Grammar, made. This is their own design, by the way. I didn't even know they made this. Does that still fit? Like if you're imagining you're coming along this way, does that still feel American or does it not? If you're watching this archive, please do give feedback. For some reason, these coaches always remind me of pumpkin pie. It just looks like a pumpkin pie anyway. Right. It was a bit shorter too, no? Less light? I don't know. Yes. It feels a bit, What do you mean? It feels a bit, I'm not certain. Yeah, I mean, I do like the look of it, but I can't help but think it might... Low American platforms might help. Good point, although... Yeah, I mean, I might have to use different invisible stations as it is. Because so far the station, like the platforms that I've been using, they have, because I've been using these invisible stations because they were the only 200-meter long ones that I could find. It does look like it does look low enough. I also placed down some other older coaches and back then, and it does look like it fits quite well with them. Let's maybe put down a platform spline to help determine what it would look like if it were finished. Now, of course, the distance isn't necessarily correct for this yet. Also, it's too high up. 1 second. Oh, what was the distance? I needed to put it down. Negative 0.4, maybe? Was it 0.4? Might have been 0.4. Are the passengers floating or are they standing properly? They are standing properly. Good. Oh, I don't know. Tell you what, let's move the big fancy roof to the hiddens layer, and let's try it with canopies, like individual canopies. Twitch poll, individual canopies versus huge roof? Probably not. Yay, probably. Okay, for this, I'm going to go grab the red canopy I used over here. Over here. Because this looks quite effective. This works quite nicely over here. Though I may need to move this down to the ground a little bit as well. Oh, actually... No, actually, I think that fits quite nicely at the moment. It's only temporary anyway. Also, is this a little bit short? Are the platforms a little bit short? I know that they match the longest platforms on the map, and so technically we don't need anything longer, but looking at some of those other stations, those are much longer. Oops, sorry, bumped the microphone. Because there's a Union Station asset. I don't know if it's installed here. Was it Union Station? Toronto, yeah, this one. This is the Toronto Union Station asset. It's an old asset that came with Trainz a long time ago. But if we look at this, and for some reason it's floating, which I don't remember. Actually, maybe it was floating, I don't know. You can see just how many platforms they've got here and just how long these platforms are. If we compare that to my station, even though those are 200-meter long platforms, it's just over half of the length of this station. And in terms of numbers of platforms, well, we've got 10 tracks. Actually, that's interesting. You've got 2 platforms per track. Huh. But yeah, so width-wise it looks fairly similar, but length-wise it just... that... Sharadise, Union Station Toronto! Why do they always just put pictures of the outside? I want to see the tracks. That doesn't count, I want to see more of the tracks. Also, that also doesn't count. Yeah, but you can't really see the station because it's not been built yet. Oh, come on, Wikipedia, you really need more helpful images of train stations. This is a problem that I've repeatedly encountered on your website. Please. Actually put in images of the infrastructure, not just the fancy building. Yeah. Anyway, look it up on maps. I don't think I've got any of those maps. Hold on, I can look in my closet on the floor. Nope, I haven't got any maps. Also, I don't have a floor closet, so maybe those two facts are connected. Oh, you've already got the link. Now, can I just... yeah, okay. Actually, if I scroll out there, then maybe I can... Layers, yes, there we go, switch over. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty much like the... like the Trainz asset, honestly. modified slightly, but still, yeah. It's basically the Trainz asset, with all of the tracks then converging at some point down there. Anyway, isn't really important. The question is, are these tracks long enough for my station here? And quite surreal seeing that station RL, like with station Morton. Yeah. Now, there is one good reason for not extending it, which is that the siding I put in over here is only 200 meters long, and I can't really extend it. So I don't really have capacity for longer trains than that, unless you use some of the main line sidings as the, although even then that's not really long. No, I'm gonna keep the length, because otherwise I'd have to move it back even further. Even further, yes. Also, I think I am going to go with a single canopy style, because that just feels more American to me. Given I've not been there myself, so I could be completely wrong, but from all the research and all the images and films that I've seen of American railroads, I can't remember encountering a station that has a single big roof like I was planning to put in. So, how many tracks do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tracks. Got 4, so... okay. You've never been in America, same. Well, I wouldn't say that, but... you can if you want to. Right, so... given that we've got crossovers here, let's just... okay, well, let's see. Actually, maybe we could have a little bit longer platforms if I kept the platforms carrying along into the curve, which might be quite nice. And then about that long, what do you mean about that long? No, not the canopy. Yes, this one. Straighten that. Also, this is just a bit temporary because the distance of the platforms hasn't been put down exactly right yet. Although I suppose I should really start doing that now, because the more work I do before I do this, the more work I'll have to do later to fix it. Fußbrücke? No, it'll probably be an underpass. Okay, sort of like that. And then that needs to come together with this down here somewhere. So let's try and see if that would work. Although this needs to be moved over slightly. I hope that that's enough space. Let's get one of these heavyweight cars. Well, a couple of them. Let's see, do these fit size-wise? Yeah, that fits. That doesn't scrape. It is a bit tight, but it actually doesn't scrape. And these are long as well. How about over here on the inside of the curve? I know we've got plenty of space there. Although it does feel a little tiny bit close, so I think I am going to move this over ever so slightly to about there. That should be better. And then can I just feed this in there? That feels a little steep. How about if instead I just keep that sort of like this? Then if that connect up to here. Now we do still have 6 to connect and only 2 tracks to connect them to, which means if I put 1 there, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 over on that side, so that'll work. So ideally, I'd do something like that. But of course, that's much too sharp. So I could just make this a 3-way junction. And honestly, that might be the best solution. Or I could just put in a little junction in this curve. Actually, yeah, that's probably the best solution like that. Because 3-way junctions are, well, not ideal. Now let's see, how far would I be able to take this platform out? Really only 2 there, because I don't have space to carry it any further. But that's okay. That makes it look more dynamic. Save, yes I know. Also, Union Station, Toronto may be on an American continent, but not part of the USA. First case. Or rather, no. Too sharp, darn it. Yeah, but it's better. Freeway junction? Shave. Yes, I know, I know. Is that a little too far away? Let's move these ones back on here. Nope, that's good. Ish. Over here. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a gap there, but that's fine. Otherwise we wouldn't have anything to mind. But I can't really carry this on any further. That seems reasonable. So now in this case, I'll just parallel the other track with this one. Especially since we will also need junctions here. Also, why does it keep doing that? It keeps placing these junctions without actually connecting them to the junction. Okay, now this is actually coming in relatively straight. So if we just have this branching off here, we might even be able to do something like this. To have the platform come out further. Just put it up to where the invisible stations end, the invisible platforms. And then I'll extend it from there with this being straightened. Save, yes. Please mind the gap between the heavyweight and the platform. Yes. Now would this work? Yeah, I mean this clearly works. Just extend it to about there. That's got plenty of clearance over here as well, although I might need to add another spline point over on this side, depending on how close this one gets moved. If I move that to about there, which seems reasonable, then actually that looks okay, clearance-wise. Sort of like that. And that curve radius, it's maybe a little sharper. That seems fine. You're not going to go through here very quickly either. Okay, so now we've got the shorter platforms over here to connect still. Ooh, before we do that, I do want to quickly add an actual platform spline over on this side as well. And this one can come up around the curve as well. I think I should just line it up with these ones. Even though this one could technically come out all the way onto the main line, but I don't think that's a good idea. Imagine that, just having a platform that goes from one station all the way, like 25 miles along the main line to the next station. Just one continuous platform. Kango, I've just had an idea for your next Trainz route. Okay, that all looks good. Yeah, and adding that little extra bit of length does also make it feel a bit better. Roger, Roger. What's the spline's vector, Victor? Brr. Brr. Sitcom laughter. Brr, I see. Right, so with the extra space we've got over here, I can just bring this in, sorry, I said I can just bring this in to there. Although I should probably move this over first a little bit. And then this one should probably be moved over as well, but I need to add the spline first. Actually, no, I'll do it the other way so that the spline points line up. Because this isn't actually centered in the middle of the spline. It's offset a bit. Which is, I suppose is useful, because if you're placing things like canopies, then those spline points are likely going to be in the middle, and so it might make it easier to grab these ones. That seems a little too close. Hold on. Yeah, that seems better. Officer Drebin, giving ticket to platform. And that's for fouling the main. Okay. Reminds me of one of the, I think it might have been the first police squad episode, where they go to the widow of the murder victim, and she's crying and crying, and then he comes up to her and he says, yeah, I wish we could have been here sooner, but your husband wasn't dead then. And now I need to listen to the theme music for it again. Yes. Oh yes. Police Squad is such a great series. I'm glad that it at least got the films, well, the Naked Gun films. Coffee? Yes, I know. There are so many great jokes in that. Okay, so it comes up this way. Actually, should that be... No, this should be moved over slightly to about there. Even though I know that comes in closer, I think that's okay. I've got that branching off. This just looks a little bit sharper than maybe should be. So let's just move this down to there. And yes, I know the point of having the platforms shorter means that, well, you don't use up a lot of space over here, which we're still saving a lot of space. Actually, maybe if I just move this over to the side a little bit more, instead of just further and further back. Just move it to there. Yes, that feels much better. Okay, let's save. Oh, is that the intro? Yeah. And Draven always walking in front of the set in the police headquarters with the other characters going through the door. Yes. Such a classic show. Ooh, this needs to be moved closer. Okay. Which now means that... Well, let me just double count. So this track has got 2, that one's got 3, this one's got 2, that one's got 3. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. It has to be split up that way anyway. Although I could have split it differently so that these 3 tracks go into that line, so it's 2 3 3 2 and not 2 3 2 3, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. Although keeping that curve this sharp just to keep it aligned to the other one doesn't make sense. So this way it's much better. So yeah, okay, let's see. If you come in this way, got to cross over here, and then you can come along here and then cross over to this other platforms. Maybe we could have another little siding here. Because we've got all of this, because we've got to go back so far to get to the other platforms, it just feels like the sort of thing where having a siding might be useful. Especially since we've got the extra space there. Yeah, just like that. Not really 100% sure what this would be used for. However, it does feel useful. Right. Would be interesting if they rebooted it, but it just wouldn't be the same without Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, true. I mean, they could still make it work, but it may be quite tricky to find someone who can accurately portray his character. Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you did do something like that, the best way of doing it might be that it's maybe his son or his grandson or something like that who goes to the police force. Like maybe his son, I don't know, went to be a baker or a farmer or something, and his son's son, his grandson, ends up growing up in a very slow-paced lifestyle, and he hears all these stories about his grandfather's police exploits, and so he decides to no longer work on the farm, but instead join the police force. And he's very much his grandfather's grandson. And then, depending on what actors are still alive who were in that show, you could have some people, still remember what it was like having Frank there. And now you've got his grandson there, and it's still very much the same. See, that I could see working. If the people who made it cared enough about the show, which... if they're making this show, they probably do care about it, or they would care about it. Okay, so layout-wise, that's good. Let's just put a platform right across the end here. Again, this is not necessarily final, but I'll probably have a platform go across there anyway. Also, if we've got that, do we actually need an underpass? Well, maybe it's not a question of do we need one, but do we want one? Dun dun dun. Yeah, this is not easy to line up like this. Yeah, it needs to go over slightly more like that, maybe. Looks better. Reboots should only be made if the people behind it care for the original. Same goes for Americans too. Can go. No, I don't think that an underpass is necessary here. Although, if a train comes in here, you've got to switch over to the other one. Instead of going all the way back, going all the way over, then going all the way back, and then going in. maybe having an underpass on these tracks, but that's detailing the platforms, which I do not want to do now. Animaniacs too, yes. I'm sure all the voice actors and animators, etc. cared, but if the showrunner doesn't, well, there's the whole thing downhill, doesn't it? Same with writers, if they don't have the original, well, it's not really good. Yeah. What? Okay, so let's have a look. That's a little fly through what this looks like. Bear in mind we've got a bit of a lower render distance currently. Actually no, I'll paint it in first, the gravel, so that we can still see where the tracks go. The distance. I see. Very well spoken. Although, yeah, texturing completely in line with a grid isn't very easy because you don't get pretty much any variation in a straight line. Like, location-wise, because of the vertices of the ground. Although it's in a pretty okay spot. Like where it just happened to be placed on the grid. Okay, so redo a little bit here, that's a little too close. I think that a good way of doing a reboot but continuation is how they did it with Get Smart, where it was Get Smart's it was Get Smart's son who continued the legacy. According to his Wikipedia article, he did have 3 children. 2. He did have 3 children too. Who else had 3 children? Yeah. Okay. Just need a little bit more over here. It was quite... Would you say that Inspector Gadget is a sister show to Get Smart? It was quite similar. No. I wouldn't. It's got the same actor doing the voice for Inspector Gadget, and also clumsy and playing a similar character, but it is very different in many respects. It was quite similar. In some ways, yes, but if you look beyond the character of Gadget himself, it was actually quite different. Cousin show? You're getting closer. Okay. Right, so now that I've put those textures down, we can have a proper look and see what it looks like. And the tracks, well, they'll still disappear on us, but it won't be as detrimental to our viewing experience. So, actually, yeah, well, let's go from the last station. I know I still need to detail this. Right, so we've come from over here. We've got lovely scenery either side if it loads. And this is where we're going down from the embankment, gradually going down to the actual real ground level. Going through the city some more. You can see more scenery either side. You can see even if we look above there, you can see scenery, good. Going through the curves, nice park there. More scenery that way. I mean, yeah, there's a good distance between stations. Just this way. And then we'll need to add scenery along here. Maybe another bridge going over the... Well, we'll probably have another 1 or 2 bridges going over the tracks here. We've got that little bit there, going around the curve. And at this point you will already see the station. And here you've got to go over across so that you will be guided onto whichever platform you're going to go onto. And then you come in here, and then you've reached the end of the line. Now if you're leaving the station, what would that look like? Just imagine there's already scenery here. So you've got a locomotive standing around here, the train behind. And then you depart. And then, well, here you're already on the correct side, but if you start from the other side, you'd have to cross over. Then if you're an express, you'd be going along the center, well, the inner track, I suppose. You can also cross over here if you need to, like if you want to go up on the left. However, player trains won't need to do that. There you can see that lovely viewing area / retaining wall. Ooh, that's the thing. We probably need some more buildings there in that little bit, because you can quite clearly see that there isn't actually anything there if you come this way. That's the thing I need to do. I'll probably do that today, because otherwise I'll forget about it. Right, and then with live streaming it is a little bit laggy. But that's just on my old computer as well. Well, on a computer that is basically identical to my old computer, except that it's working better. Right, and then you come up here onto the embankment, and then you can cross over if you want to go to the yard, or you can carry on straight, and you get to the station, and then you carry on to the main line, along the main line. Right. Gadgets and Smart's chief were also similar from what I can remember. Well, a little bit, as in they were getting really quite fed up with their agent / officer. However, that was pretty much the extent, because the character in Get Smart, the chief didn't really get that much characterization, if I recall. Maybe had more... Oh, and of course, in Get Smart you didn't have Penny or the dog brain. Well, yeah, but the thing is, in Get Smart, so much of it was the characters of 99 and of course the chief, and getting to know all of those characters with Smart himself, and the teamwork between 99 and 86 on all their missions, and then having the apartment with all of those traps and devices and all of those things in there was another large part. And then you also had, it was always a bit of a game between the agents of control and the agents of chaos. You had Yeah, because it was always about outplaying each other and trying to trap the other agents, and it was all about that. Whereas in the agents, Chaos's agents were always smart. Well, ish. Some of them weren't, but they were, most episodes, they were actually intelligent, worthy opponents. Whereas in Inspector Gadget, if I recall correctly, the opponents are pretty much stupid thugs, mostly. There were, of course, exceptions, but yeah, like cartoon thugs, basically. Yeah, that looks better. Although I do still need 2 more buildings. I'll just use some of these house assets just to fill in these little gaps back here. Actually, no, I need to fill in that over here as well. So just sort of like that. Yeah, that's good. Now if you happen to look through there, you can see that there are actually buildings there as well. Now I need to get a thumbnail. We've already gone past midnight. What do you suppose? Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. For Moses, he knows his toes aren't roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be. I mean, I want to show what we built. However, I don't really want to give away too much on the thumbnail. If only the tracks loaded in properly, all the way to the end of the render distance. I'll read chat in a bit, don't worry. Or maybe do worry, depending on what you put in chat. Maybe time of day. How about that? That doesn't have as much contrast. Which, I don't know. Maybe something like this? I don't know. One of those will probably be good. So, chat reading, and then maybe add more palm trees in the city too, Shadows, not just in front of the museum. Yeah, I do intend to. So I think that's one of the things I wanted to do over here. When this big 4-lane road comes along this way, or maybe it even crosses over the top and then comes along this way, I don't know. I do want to have palm trees going along that. Does feel nice, good. Or the lazy option, replace the bridge legs for something fatter. Good point, that would also solve the issue, but that would create the other issue that you wouldn't be able to see the embankment through as much. The Chief and Get Smart didn't get much characterization. I think you meant Inspector Gadget. I meant that the Chief in Inspector Gadget didn't get as much characterization as the one in Get Smart. True, I don't remember Inspector Gadget too closely. It has been many, many years since I last saw it. But yeah, I can remember this. Isn't there still a gap between buildings in front of the flyover on the left? Not sure. That's something I'll have to have a look at next time. Also, which villain opponent was more interesting, Siegfried or Dr. Claw? Siegfried. Of course, Siegfried. I would say the former. From what I can remember, yay, top day. Swap out the sky for the thumbnail. No, so it's actually dusk, dawn, sky. Okay, well, let's see. What's this one called? Sky 644M. Ooh, this one. And I'll quickly change it back. And it'll also change the time of day back because it's much easier working in this condition than the other. It was a good idea, yeah. Right, so with that, thank you all very much for watching. We've basically pretty much laid down all the track we're going to lay down at this point, unless I need to change something when I make a session or something like that. But, or unless I need to add, unless I just do decide to add like an express or mail or track or something else here, but pretty much that's it. Now, next time, it's just building the actual station, detailing the other station a bit, and then adding the streets and buildings along here. And then we're pretty much done. Except for, of course, updating a little bit of the old scenery and placing some baseboards in the distance so if you've got a higher render distance in the mountains, you can't see the edges of the baseboards. But yeah, this is it. Pretty much. But yeah, add a few asterisks onto that. Add a few obelixes as well. Although maybe one obelix is enough. Obelix, there's quite a lot of him. Right. In Trainz. And then, when I make it noon, it's like, oh, these grass blinds looked a lot better before. Yeah, I get the reference. That's on PL1, yeah. Okay. A few dogmatic side too. Of course. Reference, yes. Which? The PL1. Oh, these grass plants look a lot better before when you changed the time of day. Anyway, good night. While I make a backup of the route. Anyway, so, bye-bye. Have fun watching the video, the announcement video, tomorrow or the day after. Good night.